Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to FTB Interactions. So, since last episode, I've done a little bit of work around the base. I've also got the area set up that we're going to use for our tree farm, and we're going to expand on it, and then what I'm going to do is once we get everything planted and everything set up down there, then I'm going to actually cover that with snow and kind of make it blend in with, our spruce trees and stuff that we're going to plant up here. To add a little bit of life to this snowy tundra. So we're going to get that moved. I was going to move it off camera, but then I was like, well, if I do that, my Steam system is going to stop. Plus, it'll give us a good time to plug up the nodes and stuff on camera and go over that. But so we'll get that set up here in just a minute. We're actually going to be doing a mixed bag of things this episode. Originally, I was planning on doing a bit more with Steve's factory or Super Factory Manager, but I have hit a little bit of a snag. Before we talk about that snag, though, I want to address something. I actually had a lot of comments and questions regarding, and I figured I'd just address it in this video because I can just kind of talk about it and try to explain it. It seems like a lot of people are having issues where their machines are getting switched. And if we open up, like, I've actually added a few more things here, as you can see. But let's open up, like, Fine Wire, for example. And we take a look at, say, the inputs, and you have all these different inventories. And people are having issues where their inventories are getting moved and things are messing up. That's not happening to me. The reason it's happening to people is one of two issues. And I should have mentioned this during the last episode, but I didn't think about it at the time. Whenever you're dealing with Steve's Factory Manager or Super Factory Manager, if you break things that are part of a system. Like, for example, if I came over here and I broke this chemical reactor, anything that's connected to that is going to mess up. It can, in some cases, it can shift to a different machine, or it can just become disconnected. Also, inventory cables, if you break those, it can cause the same thing. Things can get disconnected, things can get jumbled up or messed up in the machine inventory manager. Also, if you have your system, say this system is chunk loaded, and, it's in multiple chunks, unless it's been changed, which I don't think it has. I know one thing about Steve's Factory Manager is you wanted to do proper chunk loading with it, just like you would with most systems like that. If you don't have proper chunk loading, what can happen is this chunk that has the machine inventory manager can load, but since this chunk over here is not loaded, it's going to say, well, I don't have any more inventory cables, and it can actually cause your system to mess up. So chances are it's one of those things. Either you've broken something that you don't need to break and made changes to your system that, in that sense. Now, I did add wire mills and assembling machines, but I didn't have any issues. I can add those. I can add new machines because the way it registers machines is it grabs the coordinates. For example, like right here, it says what the coordinates are. That's where it locks it in at. So if you have moved machines, that can cause it. And I'm going to say if it's changed machines, I'm going to assume the issue is maybe you've removed something and then placed a different machine in that spot or something. But you have to be careful about whenever you break inventory cables or machines or don't have stuff chunk loaded. It can cause issues. So, but I haven't had any issues. This system's been running fine. And I've made things and checked everything, and everything's running great. It's been running just fine. So, but just a heads up there. So I hope that answers any questions. If it's not one of those things, I have no clue because I haven't been having that issue myself, and I've never had that issue with Steve's Factory Manager. So I'm not sure what it could be outside of if you're breaking things or something like that. So. But with that said, the snag that I came up on between episodes is I was actually going to automate. I've actually got some oxygen and some ethylene in here, and I was going to automate polyethylene and just go ahead and set it up. However, Super Factory Manager is not capable of reading or moving gases. So oxygen counts as a gas, and actually there's quite a bit of gases within GregTech. And it's not going to be able to read any of those because it does not see them as a fluid. It can pull up some of these other types of oxygen. Anything here that has like a fluid, it can read oxygen, plasma, cryogenic oxygen, liquid oxygen, or mechanism oxygen. But the GregTech oxygen, this right here, which is actually what we need to be able to read and move and do things with, it cannot see that. So a little bit of an issue there. So it did mess up my polyethylene. Now wood gas is still being sent to the distillery, and it is making ethylene with that. And then I'm just having to move. Technically I could move the ethylene and, you know, have it moved into the chemical reactor. But I'd still have to move the oxygen, so I don't have anything plugged up moving either of those at the moment. I'm just kind of moving them with the portable tank. Which it's not an issue if I leave this in here because, I mean, technically I could just ship the oxygen over and keep oxygen just locked in here. And then whenever I wanted to make polyethylene, I could send the appropriate amount of ethylene. And that might be what I do. We'll see. But a little bit of a snag there because it can't read and do anything with the gases. So just a heads up there. But luckily there's 3 liquid slots, so we can still move rubber in here and make rubber with the resin and the sulfur in this chemical reactor. So, and one thing I did automate is I automated a lot of things. I'm automated the magnetic iron rods and steel rods. I actually have these only making 20, and then I did like aluminum rods and things like that. And I also automated resistors because we have a better way to make resistors now that we're at this point. By just shipping in coal dust and 4 fine copper wire, and it makes 12 at a time. So that's a whole lot better than just getting 3, you know, for this cost right here. So, and it cuts out the need for paper, which is awesome. Now, we're going to do a bit more automation with Super Factory Manager, but today I think I only want to do one thing with Steve's Super Factory Manager, and this is something to kind of help us out, and then we're going to switch gears because we're going to be working towards something in the coming episodes. But I do want to cover this on camera, and we're actually going to be doing this through the advanced assembling machine right here. And so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and make advanced assembler 1, and we are going to make a really quick thing here. And I also had a comment about one thing that we could do, and I know we could do this. You could have all your machines, everything output at the same time. So we could set up one thing that hooks to all the machines and outputs from that. However, I'm not doing that for a very particular reason because then, I've got a lag spike. But the thing about plugging it all up with one single output is then you have to set it all to one trigger time, one interval trigger time, and we have everything as specialized trigger times based on the machine and based on the time. That way it's not trying to pull stuff more often than it has to. So you could save commands that way, but the command cap is like 400 and something, so if you're hitting that point, you know, it might be time to make a new new factory manager. So saving commands for something like that in exchange for creating a little bit more lag on the server, it's not worth it to me personally. But you could do that, especially like if you're in a single player world or something like that. You could do that. So, but anyways, we're going to set up a really quick thing here, and I'm just going to move pretty quick through this. But we've got the advanced assembling machine right here. It's the only one we've got at the moment, so we can find that pretty easy. Upside, and we're going to just do a blacklist, and then we're going to output to the modular storage, upside, empty blacklist. And we're going to go ahead and set this to a trigger time of, we'll say 20 seconds. I think it's a little bit faster than it has to be, but that's okay. 20 seconds is pretty reasonable. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a couple conditions as per usual. And we're just going to automate one thing that's just going to make my life a little bit easier. Because I want to make lots. We actually have a quest for this, but I want to get MV motors. And you know, we were crafting them like this, but we can craft them in the assembler now. but it's a little bit of a process to do by hand, especially to make 40 of these, because there's a quest right, which I still need to go pick up my water colanders, so that stuff will move on. But right here, we have a quest here to get 40 electric motors, and the rewards are definitely worth it. You know, these aren't bad rewards at all. There's also one for 16 circuits. We're going to be doing that. Originally, I was planning on doing it this episode, but what we're going to be doing this episode, I don't actually need that at the moment. But anyways, they're fairly cheap, and I've actually got most of this stuff automated. Copper cables are automated, aluminum rods are automated, magnetic steel rods are automated. But it's going to save us from having to make all this 2x copper wire. But we are going to have to melt down copper to do this. So it's going to take 4 pieces of copper per motor. And then we're also going to need 1 magnetic steel rod, 2 aluminum rods, and 2 copper cables. And chances are it's going to start kicking some more aluminum rods out, which is fine. And then magnetic steel rod. Yeah, it's back up to 20 there. And I could see the assembling machine making copper cables to fill in the ones that I took. Okay, so this is the materials that we're going to need, these 4 things. And so what we're going to do is we are going to set a condition here, and we're going to check and see, does the modular storage have requires all, and we are going to pull up, oh, it's not going to read them. That's the worst thing. Most of the stuff from GregTech, it does not read. I mean, I could maybe find it if I did .gregtech, but the thing is, there's 3,600 and some odd things there. I don't know if there's any way that I can possibly search this. Maybe I could pull it up under MV. Okay, yeah, we're not going to be able to pull it up that way. We're going to have to do .inventory, it looks like. Okay, so we're going to leave that blank as is, and we're going to say if it's false, come down here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to check 2 inventories in this case. We're going to check the modular storage and the large memory chests. And I wanted to cover this on camera because we're multi-checking inventories. And we're going to say it is the, oops, well, I guess it really don't matter. You can do it on any side, but, and we're going to say it requires all and .inventory, and then we're just going to grab magnetic steel rod, aluminum rod, copper cable, and copper ingots. And we're going to check to make sure that there is at least 4 copper ingots, 2 copper cables, 2 aluminum rods, and 1 magnetic steel rod. And then if that's true, then what we're going to do is we're going to input and we're going to output. And then what we're going to do is we're going to input and we're going to go modular storage and memory chest. Target is the upside, and items, once again, it's the same things. We're going to set the recipe here. Make sure you specify the amounts. Okay, that's all put in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to output, and first up, we're actually going to do a double output in this case. And what we're going to do is we're going to have, first output is going to go to the, let me actually move this over here so I can see it, fluid extractor. And we're going to say upside, items, and we're going to whitelist the copper ingots. And we don't have to worry about specifying amount in this case because we've only got 4 from the input. And then we're going to output once more, and this is going to go to the advanced assembling machine. Target is up, and our items, we're going to whitelist. You could also blacklist copper ingot. Do I just want to do that, or yeah, we'll just blacklist the copper ingots. So everything except for the copper ingots are going to go here. Okay, so then it's sending everything where it goes. And next up, what we're going to do is we're going to make a really quick trigger that has an, oops, not an input. We want a fluid input, fluid output, and this trigger is going to be on an interval of That does it in about 4 seconds. Okay, so we're going to set the interval on this to, say, 6 seconds. Yeah, that'd be fine. I like to give it a little bit of leeway. So, and bear in mind, I mean, all this stuff is, I will say it is kind of temporary, because once we start into AE2, you know, a lot of this stuff will get removed. We will still use Super Factory Manager for certain things, just because it makes life a bit easier. But a lot of this stuff will be gone. So, but we're going to put molten copper into that as our whitelist. So that's what you're pulling out, because that way we can still run other things through the fluid extractor other than just this, and it can pull it to the appropriate stuff, because, you know, there might be other stuff. I know we're going to be extracting like other metals and stuff, probably some other stuff as well, and then we're going to output that to the assembling machine. Advanced assembling machine. Target is up, and fluid, we'll just leave that alone because it already knows based on the input what it is going to send. Okay, so now if I come over here and I drop in copper into the fluid extractor, that's going to start running, and that is that 4 seconds? Roughly. So yeah, that's about 4 seconds. Okay. But anyways, it's sending it to the advanced assembling machine. And so then what we can do is we can drop this into there. That's going to start running. It's going to take a minute, but it's going to make us our very first motor. I think it's 30 seconds to craft these. Yeah, 30 seconds. So it does take a minute, but that's okay. And then whenever it's done, it should send it to the modular storage, and then we can fill in this last condition here so that it can just start running. And it's actually going to cause like a chain reaction of running, because it's using up a few different things from this, so it'll have to make those to refill what we're taking from it. So there goes our electric motor, and there that is. And you can also do this for the other motors, and I'm sure I will. They take 10 cables, iron rods, magnetic iron rod. It works the same. So yeah. And actually, does this have to be in the... No, this is just 10 EU per tick. So technically we could do this in a lower tier assembler, but what I would probably do is keep this assembling machine just for ideally making motors, you know. And it would actually make those a bit quicker then. Okay, so then what we'll do is we'll set the condition here to .inventory, and we'll select our motor and specify amount, keep 40 on hand. There you go. And then this interval, we're going to set this to, say, yeah, let's just go 50 seconds actually. Just to make, so we don't end up making too many. I actually ran into that issue because I set my intervals for the copper wire a little bit, or the fine copper wire, a little bit higher than what they, or a little bit lower than what they should have been. So that's why I have a little bit extra of that, because it just started shipping out copper. But I wasn't really worried about it because we will use this, and it's not going to replenish anymore until it's down to 40 copper wire, 40 fine copper wire. So not really a big concern. But yeah, so every 50 seconds it's going to send the materials out to make a motor, and then it'll craft it, and which we should see some stuff come into this. Let's see, I did set all this up. If that's false, if that's true, there. Okay, yeah, there's the stuff for it. So, and then it should be extracting the copper, which it is, and it's shipping it over here to make motors. Okay, and so once that hits 40, we'll be able to complete a quest. It's going to take a minute to make 40, but that's okay. We're actually getting to where we're making compound things now, because for this you have to make the copper cables, you've got to melt down copper, you've got to make aluminum rods, you have to make steel rods, and then you have to polarize those steel rods, which I taught you how to do that through just the polarizer. So there we go. And motors, of course, motors are something we use so many of those and circuits both. We will get circuits automated soon, but I don't need them right this second. I just figured we start with motors, and then next episode we'll quickly get circuits set up, because there's a little bit more to that. So, but I want to shift gears today because it's been a while since we worked on magic, and it's high time that we do a little bit with magic. And so that's what I'd like to turn my attention towards, starting with the tree farm though. That's going to be first and foremost our main objective. So before we get started with that, there's one thing that I want to make. No, actually I won't need anything. We'll just have the iron chest, the hopper hawk. What we are going to do, which we're going to be doing a lot more work with this tree farm here very, very soon, because one thing we're going to start into before too long is getting mineral crystals through the extractor and then processing these down, because it's an easy free source of methane, carbon dust. We'll also get sawdust, which we're going to start using as we do circuits. We'll get free plant balls and free mineral resin as well, which will be great. But one thing, the sun's starting to come up, which is awesome. I'm going to grab a chest, and we are going to do some changes to this system over here. So I think we've got plenty of, yeah, we've got plenty of that. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves, nope, 4 mineral saplings. I'm going to go with 4 because if we expand on Steam, we'll have need of it. And then we'll just go ahead and, does this break with vein mine? Kind of. It's these enriched mineral chunks that mess it all up. Okay, I'll break the rest of that here in a minute. And so what we're going to do, let's pull up, let's give that a second. Let's pull up the hopper hawk. What we're going to do, let's pop over to where the tree farm's going to go. And this one's actually going to look a bit better once everything's all said and done. Right now it's just a square of dirt, but that's okay. We're going to put our tree beacon dead center right there. And then it's like 4 blocks that these need to be, I think it was. And I don't know that they're going to grow with the torches right next to them. I think I'm going to have to remove the torches, but we're going to give this a shot first and see. Yeah, see, I think the torches will want to go, unless it sees the leaves and stuff. Okay, there's 2 grown. Okay, well that's fine. That should be plenty. So it's going to start making stuff. And then what we need to do, of course, is set up the item collection. And then what I can always do is come out a little bit further, maybe, and add mineral. But I think even regardless, we're going to be okay. And we're actually going to put this one down into the ground here. So let me pop back up here really, really quick. I could turn this into a floating hopper hawk, but since I haven't done the Jaded Amaranthus, it would actually be kind of a pain to bother with that at the moment. Not really, I guess, but it would just be a little bit easier. Or no, actually it would be a pain, because we can't make a floating flower yet. But what we're going to do is we're going to put, right here we're going to put dirt. We're going to put ourselves a hopper hawk down, and then right next to this hopper hawk, we're going to put our collection chest. And this will start getting all the stuff that the hopper hawk picks up, as well as things that I dump in there. And then what we'll do is, let's actually dig this open real quick. And I need to get my nodes. And I've actually got, right here I've got routing nodes. And we've actually got a master node downstairs. And then I just have to turn them into input and output. And before we do that, let's pop over here. This should be done emptying out the stuff from our tree farm. It is. And we're going to pull that up, and we're going to pull up all of these. And what we're going to do is we're going to set our iron chest. This is actually probably going to get shifted. I just have to, basically I have to have this stay, like, keep this plugged up, more or less. And so we're just going to set this up right here for now. And we're going to say, disable the redstone control. And that means this will have to get moved down to here. And then what we're going to do is our nodes. We need to make the input and output node. Okay, and so to make our routing nodes, they're very, very cheap. We're just going to need to get ourselves a few plates and then get this thing crafted up. So toss in some silver, toss in some gold, and this stuff should automatically get pulled out to the modular storage that's over here. And so we can just shift click to craft all this stuff up. Yeah, we're going to start to experience this, which is always fun. Just means I need to start upping my power, because whenever I'm starting to make stuff like this, it starts running multiple machines and we just don't have the power output, because I'm only running like this whole wall on 2 steam turbines. So we're going to have to upgrade that, but that's no biggie to do that. But this is the first time we've actually started experiencing power issues, and they're very minute. You can see this is crafting again now. So okay, so we've got that. And then we need to make ourselves one of these, one of these, and then an input. Oh, it has to be in the, okay, yeah. 1 second here. Let me grab our pig iron plates. We're up to 13 electric motors. That's awesome. And let me get our resonating wand. And then we're also going to have to craft the node router, and we'll get that here in just a second. Oh, but you know what? I have all this stuff disconnected at the moment. Because I was going to move it, and I just haven't moved it yet. Oh, it's always something. It's because I keep setting things up and then moving them. And all my stuff's over here. I've still got it. It's just it's not plugged up at the moment. So I'm going to have to build this back out real quick. And because it was actually going to go where that bridge is going, and I was like, okay, well, I don't need it right this second. Bad mistake. We're also going to need 2 of these wisdom wood sticks, so we'll go ahead and grab those, and we should be good to go. I got that thing, kind of another temporary setup, but that's okay. It doesn't take but a second to throw up that altar, so. Okay, so our node router, there's that. We'll get that crafting. I don't think it's going to take all that long. Let's see. That's taking a little bit. There we go. There's that. And then our output node. There we go. And then our input node. And these have quests. I don't think they have any rewards though. No. But this does. This is going to be done soon. So, yay. And also, while we got this pulled up, let's go ahead and, okay, there's that stuff. Let's go ahead and, well, yeah, I'm still waiting for that to come up. One thing I wanted to address this episode that we're going to start working towards is space. We're going to start working our way towards space. And there's a couple things that we have done, like the MV assembly, that's done. We'll go ahead and check that off. The aluminum production, we've got aluminum. We can produce it, not a problem. It's not fully automated, but that's intended at the moment, you know. It's going to be a whole lot easier before too long to get that. And then the rest of the stuff we're going to have to do, but it's actually not that difficult to start moving into space. It's not too difficult, and this is kind of the point that I wanted to move into space, because space is kind of like MV, maybe a little bit of HV. I can't remember, but I looked through the recipes. I want to say there's a little bit of HV involved for like one thing that I noticed, but I could be wrong. But we'll just handle it as we come across it. But most of the stuff isn't too bad to get us ready. Basically, we just need to get these things done, get started on the space stuff, and then we also need to make our peace candles, and we'll be golden. Then we can start heading into space. So, but okay, so let's go ahead and get our node set up, our node system. And a lot of people request that we do this on camera. I've done it on camera a lot, but I still always have questions about it. So we're going to take our output node, and we are going to set this guy up. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to put our node setting right here, and it's going to be the output node. And then let's go ahead and break off that connection, and that way it can just output, you know, into the iron chests, and it'll feed its items through to that. So, and of course, outputs from the system. So, and then we're going to take our node router, and we're just going to shift right click there. It's going to say setting node location, and then we are going to the master node. I'm actually just going to kind of tuck this away, so we'll just put the master node setting maybe right up here, because each node line has to have a master. And since they're like really cheap in this pack, I'm probably just going to have this be like a dedicated master that goes to the tree farm. There we go. Jumping and doing a shift right click is difficult sometimes. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to pop down here and set our input node. So That goes there. And shift right click. And there we go. It's pulling the stuff out. That's simple. And it's sending it over, and then it should be pulling it out of the chest as per usual. So we pop over here. I see items moving around in there. But there's all the stuff that came from the tree farm. Okay, so our steam production is up and going again now. So yay. Okay, and I want to automate the Pyrolise oven, but I'm going to wait because there's one thing I would like to get for that, and that's frame parts. And to get frame parts, we're going to need at least 400 wheel. So we're going to start getting into wheel crystals. You know, we haven't started into wheel yet, and it's actually kind of a two birds with one stone, because the main things, you know, we're working towards space, and we also want to get peace candles. But to do that, we're going to have to start getting into infusion crafting, which means we're going to have to get into Thaumcraft. We're also going to have to get severance reagents, which take the Hellfire Forge, and once again, 800 wheel. Now, to get 800 wheel, technically, we're going to want the tier 3 gem, because that's the one that holds 1024 wheel. But we can actually craft this thing with infusion crafting. Once again, mana diamond, reinforced slates, electrum plates. Not very expensive, but it is going to require that we get up to infusion crafting. So next episode is actually going to be nothing but Thaumcraft. We're going to be doing Thaumcraft start to finish, the entire episode, chances are, and getting into cooking down Essentia. We're going to be doing infusion. We're going to be automating Nacra. So we'll be automating the in-world crafting of this, just basically just like we've automated in-world crafting in the past, like on Sevtech, and when we did the what was it, the actually additions fluids, the oil, refined oil, stuff like that. There's a lot of in-world crafting these days, and it's not very difficult to automate because you can pretty much do vanilla to automate it. But we're going to put a twist on it. But anyways, we'll do that next episode. But this episode, since we only have about a half episode left, I want to turn our attention towards the blood magic side of things to kind of round out our blood magic, get it to where it needs to be, so then we can follow in with Thaumcraft and wrap it all up, right? So the Hellfire Forge is going to be our first stop. We have to get some mana steel plates, not a problem. Living rock, slab, seared bricks. We're going to need block of demon metal, which is not going to be an issue either. Let's go ahead and start with the, let's see, the mana steel. I don't think I have any in here, but I've got the steel that we need for that. So we'll go ahead and get that, and we'll get the plates being made. So that part is out of the way. And then next up, we're going to need the demon metal. Also not very difficult. We are going to need, let's grab ourselves 8 of these, and let's, the worst thing is it's going to be lava, and my base is not lava friendly, really. I'm going to set it up over here for now, and it will move. And actually, what does it take, the lava sigil? 32 wheel. Oh. And then I'm assuming it's normal. It is. Or you could make it like, oh, that's for, yeah. I was thinking, I was looking at how to make the lava sigil. But yeah, that's not bad at all. So that might be something that we make here in a minute, perhaps. But okay, so I'm going to need a bucket of lava. So let me just grab a bucket of this. I know it's going to burn me. I'm not worried about it. Maybe it'll burn me. I don't know. Maybe not. Oh, you know, well, I don't know. Is it because the iron bucket it doesn't burn me anymore? Maybe? Not sure. But let's grab ourselves, let's grab like 12 for good measure, because I think there is like a small chance that this can fail. But this is another little in-world crafting thing. So if we take and throw our gold in there, yeah, see, one just failed. We got 6. Okay, there's 9. Alright, so out of making 9, we had 1 fail. Not a biggie. And then what we'll do is we'll just go dump this in the compressor and get that running. And that's going to make us our block of demon metal. And then the... Let's see, we need the seared bricks, which this is default. I actually think I may have some made up. I just can't recall. Okay, I don't, but that's fine. We just need 4 pieces of sand, right? 4 pieces of sand, 4 pieces of gravel. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay, so there's that. And we'll get that smelting up real quick. And then we need the living rock slab. And I've got a blood orb. That's not a problem. But we need... okay, yeah, I've got living rock in here. So that's easy enough. There's that. There's our block of demon metal. And then I just need the seared bricks. And we'll have the Hellfire forge done. Because I figure we'll go ahead and start tearing up sentient gems. Because I've got to farm up all that wheel. Oh, wait, that just makes... Okay, so while that's going, let's take a look at our Tartaric gem. Because we're going to have to start with the basic ones. And then to upgrade it... Okay, it's just standard. And then whenever we get to the tier 3, that's when we can do it differently. And I'm actually wondering... lesser into common. We're gonna have to tier it up there though. And then once again, okay, I was actually thinking, well, we might just push on to a lesser, make the common, because you don't need wheel for that. And then I was wondering if we could tier it up without having to keep tearing up past just making 2. Yeah. But anyways, we've got 2. So, okay, so for this, we're going to need a minimum of 1 wheel, and it's going to drain 1 wheel. And I've got demonic wheel in here. So, we'll just take this one. It's only a 167, which should be fine. And, let's see. This is just finishing up. Okay, so then we're going to need, in addition, we're going to need some glass, some blue dye, which we can just use, let's see. I can actually use these flowers. Yeah, I'm gonna pop over. I've got some flowers built up. So there's 2 of those. And then we're going to need gold, redstone, and glass. Which I've got the glass. That's not a problem. And we should have everything now that we can go ahead and craft up the Hellfire forge. So there's that. And quest complete. And what do we get for that? We get... Oh, we get a field petty Tartaric gem. Okay, so we only need to make 1 of these then. And we get a steak tartar. Okay. Go ahead and just eat that. Okay, so we're only going to craft 1 of these then. And so I am going to grab the redstone. And we'll grab the gold. And we'll go ahead and set up our Hellfire forge like right here for now. And we'll drop in. I'm just going to use, I could use either one. I'm going to use this, I guess. We'll drop in that, and that. And we'll get that running. And then to actually fill it, we are going to need to get ourselves a sentient sword, which is default. Okay. So iron sword. Okay, beautiful. That couldn't be easier, actually. And the nice thing is this should work with my repair talisman. So we won't have to worry about repairing this sword, but we are going to enchant it because if we get lucky and we get like looting, it'd be awesome if we got like looting 5 or something. This sword has looting 5. So, I mean, it's a possibility, especially since we're going to be doing a level 60 enchant. It is a possibility that we could get looting 5. We'll see. But actually, we can go ahead and upgrade again to the lesser Tartaric gem because we pretty much got everything for that. So we'll go ahead and just drop that into there. Well, actually, I am going to need 2 Tartaric gems because we need 1 for the sentient sword. So there's that. Yeah. Surprised there's not a quest for that. So let me get the materials real quick. And we'll go ahead and bust out 1 more of these. So there we go, Petty Tartaric gem. And then to upgrade it, we need a diamond, a lapis block, and a block of redstone. And I did mine up a lot of copper between episodes. I don't know if I mentioned it, and that's why up here there's cobalt. So we have 398 cobalt. I'm not processing that right this second because there's a few different things we can do with it. We also have almost 1,000 copper and almost 1,000 gold as well. So, yeah. Lots of materials. Like, honestly, we're getting to where... oh, I gotta process some lapis. That's fine. Oh, and I set up another modular storage. I think I forgot to mention that. And this just has all the ores that we're not automatically processing. And then I can even stockpile the ones that we are processing. Though, once this memory chest is filled out, this is going to plug into that. It's just basically going to be a bigger buffer to store some of this stuff up. But since I'm not auto-processing all this stuff, I'm just kind of like, you know, using it as needed, basically. Until I get all the caches built, which I was working on caches, but then I've been working on Super Factory Manager stuff and trying to get the base sorted. And then I've started digging out where the magic, a lot of the magic stuff's going to go. Not all of it, but a lot of it. I have started digging that out. So come next episode, that's mainly why, that's the main reason I decided, well, we'll do the blood magic side of things first. Next episode, we'll do the Thaumcraft side of things, because the Thaumcraft side of things doesn't take up a lot of space, whereas the, this is all, oh, that's lazurite. Okay. I'm just going to grab all of this stuff for the time being. Okay, so there's our lapis dust. And then we'll just pop over to the autoclave. We'll automate this stuff more, but I'm not going to do that until we get into AE2, just because, you know, we'll have everything automated once we hit AE2. After a little bit after we hit AE2, you know, not not immediately after we hit AE2, because it's going to be steep at first, I guess. Well, it's not actually going to be too bad. Yeah, because I mean, the thing about with this pack, resources aren't the issue. It's just setting everything up and the time investment. That's really what GregTech is. It's more of a time investment than anything. And I've been like super busy with like some real life stuff lately that's finally winding down. So, okay, so there's our block of redstone and our block of lapis. Not a problem. And then we'll dump that into there. Get that running, and this takes 20 wheel. A minimum of 60, and it takes 20 wheel to make that. So there we go. And realistically, I should probably, let's see, one second. Let me get another piece of this lapis ran. Because honestly, I should just keep these caught up. You should always have two caught up if you can, because it just makes things easier. But one thing we are going to do is we're going to take this one and we're just going to shift right click. And basically it's going to empty out all the wheel out of it. Because, and it's going to go into this one, because we don't want to waste the wheel that we've got in here. But we also don't want it in that one, because whenever they upgrade, they lose all their wheel. So there we go. And we're not going to empty the wheel out of these, because we still need those for other crafts. So, you know, we will need them throughout the pack. So might as well just hold on to those at the moment. I've got to get caches set up for this stuff. Oh, and actually, right here, our electric motors are done. So I'm going to grab those for just a second, just to complete the quest. We'll throw them back in there. It might have started crafting them. I'm not for sure. No. Okay. It's the nice thing about it being on a really long time limit, too, is because you can pull the stuff out, and it's probably not going to start crafting it unless you just get really unlucky. So, but that quest is now done. We've made all these different things. And so we get 32 magnetic steel rods, 32 aluminum, 64 2x copper wires. And I'm just going to throw in those into there. And then we also get 32 rubber bars, 8 bronze rotors, and 8 rubber rings. Sounds good. I'm almost out of aluminum again. That's fine. I've got a lot of sapphire dust built up. So that just means I just have to process it down. So, no biggie. Certain things like aluminum I'm not stockpiling as much, because it's going to be a whole lot easier to make that soon enough. And actually, I guess Oh, there's not enough wheel in here. Okay. So in that case, what we're going to have to do... but soon we're going to be making our aluminum... Actually, I guess technically I think we can go ahead and start doing it. Electrolyzer. I think we can just use clay dust. Yeah, if we make an MV electrolyzer, we could start doing this. So 13 clay dust and you get sodium, lithium, aluminum, and silicon. We're actually going to be doing that here soon because we're going to be using that for silicon for a while. So, because clay it's definitely an easy resource to stockpile. Okay, so I've got to get some lapis because I didn't bring any with me. And we'll automate wheel before too long. You guys probably know that's a thing I really like to do. Soulbound. That is not bad, assuming we get other good things on it. So we're going to try it. And we've got Mounted Strike 7, Bane of Arthropods 9, and Soulbound. That's actually terrible. Okay. Alright, so that's not really what I was looking for, but that's fine. I'll just, once I get back up to 60 levels, I'll disenchant it and then re-enchant it. But for right now, what I'm going to do, if I can figure out where I put them. I should be able to one-shot those, though. I mean, if I rode a horse, Mounted Strike wouldn't be too bad. I'm used to my other weapon. I'm surprised his arrows actually work on me. Oh, cool. Okay. But we are up to 48.75. So basically we're just going to have to run around. We're going to have to kill mobs with this thing. And sadly it has no looting. So we're getting default values. But the nice thing is as you get more and more wheel in it, you're going to generate more and more wheel per kill. So, oh, look at that. It's starting to come together. Bit by bit, it's getting there. The nice thing is I'm like pretty much unkillable though. But yeah, it looks like the repair talisman is working with this. So that's awesome. If we can get this enchanted to like a pretty good weapon, this thing would be great because it gets stronger. Of course, I don't know. It might actually get as strong as... I cannot believe they're actually managing to knock me back at the moment. What am I up to? All these arrows. I'm up to 65.92, so I could upgrade the Tartaric gem. Since I'm out here, I'm like out and about, and it's dark, I'm going to go ahead and continue killing mobs, though, until the sun comes up and I can't find anything. Of course, you can, of course, we could always go to a dungeon, like, one of the ones in the Nether or something like that, to get a whole lot of wheel. But you can also use your deep mob learning and, spawn a encounter, because it's not like we can even die from those things anyways. And, oh, I see a spider. I'm going to go kill it. This thing's like a super spider killer. This enchant, with all that Bane of Arthropods, it would actually be a really good sword in the pack I'm working on, but it's actually not that useful in this pack, because spiders are like one shot anyways. So no, okay, everything's starting to die off now, but I got it up to 95.83, so that's not too bad. I really wish I had all of these enchants on that, because that would be ideal. I could do without the knockback 4, but the rest, well, I don't know, the knockback 4 works really, really well for creepers, is the only thing. So I don't know. Maybe keep that too. But I don't know. I can disenchant it and see if we can get something better. But okay, so we've got the wheel now to do this, and we'll drop that into there, and there we go. Our other lesser Tartaric gem. And for right now, I'm just going to set that right there. Now, to upgrade this, like I said, we're going to do the infusion method. We could do the wheel method. But for that, you're going to need imbued slates, which needs a tier 3 altar, which means we have to go to space, which kind of defeats the purpose because we need to make peace candles. So we're definitely going to go the infusion route, at least for the first one. But the infusion route's not all that expensive. It's a little bit more expensive, I think, in a different way, basically. Because if you go with this route, it takes a block of gold, whereas that takes electrum plates, and then diamond imbued slate. Whereas over here, it takes just the reinforced slates, but then you need electrum and you need all the different essentia and the mana diamond. And until we get chunk cleaning in place, which would be one of the early things that we focus on for Thaumcraft, but until we get that in place, making a lot of essentia isn't really ideal, but we'll try to aim for that pretty quick and get it so that our chunk doesn't get warp in it. Or flux, I mean. Because I definitely don't want to deal with flux. Okay, so we've got our gems where they need to be. And one thing I do want to make, though, since it's as cheap as it is, let's make ourselves our lava sigil. I'm probably going to make a few of these sigils. The air sigil, what does it take? That is not expensive at all. I mean, we're going to have to get space to make it. But that's actually super cheap. Oh, and actually the blood lamp. Can I make, can I make this? 300 wheel. Which, I think the cap on this is only 256. Okay, but that is one thing we're definitely going to want once we get the third Tartaric gem. Okay, well, let me grab my blank slates. And one thing I want to do real quick. We're going to make 2 sigils. Just really, really fast. Yeah, just 2. Why did I do that? Okay, start that up again. First thing I want to do is I want to get... The water sigil is not bad either, but I definitely want the lava sigil. So we're going to need block of coal, cobblestone, redstone, lava buckets for this. And actually, can't we use block of charcoal for this? No, I think it has to be block of coal. Okay, well that's fine. Okay, so we're just going to grab our bucket of lava from that for now. We'll throw that in there, that in there, that in there, and then is my coal done? It should be done. Yes. Drop that in the compressor. Get that going. And then let me grab our arcane ashes out because we're going to need those as well. And then I've got so much random junk on me. And we still have to set up the ender var. I made it because I was going to use it for something, and then I haven't needed it. We're going to need it in the coming episodes because whenever we do the circuits. Originally, I was planning on doing those next episode, but it might be the following episode just because. But that's okay. So, lava sigil takes, what was it, 10 wheel? Okay, well, there's the lava reagent. And then I also want to make the fast miner. Which that I'm going to need 128 wheel. So I'm going to have to farm up a little bit of wheel real quick. Let's go ahead and get the lava though. So we'll put the lava reagent in, our blank slate, and we'll get that running. And I'm going to go ahead and drop our weak blood ore back in there. I'm not sure if it's filled or not, but... No, it's filling, so... okay, so there's our lava sigil, and we'll just right click to bind it. And then... Now we have infinite lava. Haha. Okay. Which I guess it's not that important, but it definitely makes life easier because I won't have to worry about lava ever again. Because you can right click and add this to tanks and stuff. Same with the water one, but the water one's not as important because technically we've got infinite water in this, we've got infinite water in the whales, so that's no biggie. See, I might be able to get up to level 60 as well while I'm out farming, which would be awesome because I could re-enchant this thing, maybe get something better, because like I said, if you get looting on it, you're going to get wheel faster because that does impact it, which is great. So I'm going to pop over here to the dungeon that's right over here, and I'm going to go kill a few mobs, and then I'll be back once I have at least the 128 wheel that we need to craft fast miner. By the way, one of the best things, there's an evoker spawner right here, and they spawn these vexes, And, of course, I'm getting dropped into water, but it's no biggie. Oh, there's actually a chest down here I never noticed before. But anyways, all these Vexes will give you wheel. So, I didn't bring my my Tartaric gem that has wheel in it. But that's fine. Because I can always dump the wheel in there. Okay, I've got the wheel that we need. So let's go ahead, empty out that one. We've got 155, 57. Okay, so that goes in there. And then we need, let's see, we're going to need a piece of gunpowder. And then iron tools, basically. Okay, so there's the shovel and the axe. We'll go ahead and throw those into there. And this is going to help out a lot when it comes to like clearing out. Oh, and I got to show you guys something actually here in just a moment. Okay, so there we go. We'll get that running, and then we'll have our Sigil of the Fast Miner. Awesome. And then once more, Arcane Ashes, Reagent, and the Reinforced Slate. There we go. I love these things so much. Like, I wish you could use these for decoration, just have them like sitting there rotating, you know? That would be awesome. Okay, so we got our Sigil of the Fast Miner. And what I want to show you, if we pop down, there's actually an entrance outside of the base. But if we pop over here, and right here, this is actually, it's kind of cool because right down here, this is the top of a copper node. This is the one that I was mining between episodes. And what's really, really cool is, of course, this is the size of a node, basically. And then I'm just digging down, right? But over here, there's actually a second copper node. So I've got two copper nodes directly underneath the base, which is awesome. Always good. And for example, that's like the speed we normally mine at. And then we pop our Sigil of the Fast Miner with a shift right click. It's a little bit faster. So it's definitely going to help. And then I shouldn't have to worry about blood, I don't think. Which if I start taking damage, I'll know. But I've got a lot of clearing to do between episodes. Yeah, see, it's draining a little bit of blood, but it's not all that much. I guess technically it will be able to eventually run out. But it's going to take a while. So I think we'll be okay. Basically, I've got a bunch of clearing to do between episodes. Or continued clearing. And so having that's just a little bit of extra help. I mean, technically I could make a hammer, but well, technically I've got a hammer, but I can make a better hammer if I wanted to, but I'm not that worried about it. Honestly, I don't think we're going to touch any more Tinker's stuff. I mean, I'm mainly using the longsword for jumping, and I'm using this to get smooth stone. And I don't think we're going to mess with much more Tinkers at this point. So there's other options for tools. And I'm so tired of Tinkers. I'm so tired of it being in so many packs that I kind of want a break from it. It's so overused. It's better in this pack because there's none of that leveling mod, which is what really breaks it. But I really don't think we're going to do much more with Tinkers moving forward. So, but anyways, I'm going to end out this episode here. Next episode we will, originally I was thinking about doing circuits next episode, but I think we'll do that the following episode. And start into our work into moving into space. I think that sounds good because we need to hit the magic side of things, and we've kind of neglected it because it hasn't really been needed up until now, but we're getting to the point where I'm ready to get magic. Plus we can get our new nodes, our frame parts to make a better node system. So, and we're going to use that for some automation over here. But so we'll be doing Thaumcraft next episode. Top to bottom, just doing Thaumcraft work in the next episode. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode today. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.